You're watching Bermuda Tonight. It's Monday, May the 6th, 2019. I'm Diane Brewer, and thank you for joining us. Topping our news, countries around the world are beginning to clamp down on anti-vax sentiment as outbreaks of historic, once mostly eliminated diseases reemerge. Vaccine hesitancy has been on the rise in Bermuda over the past decade. The Department of Health will be hosting a vaccination information session for parents to learn more about the benefits of vaccines with leading expert Dr. Kristen Feimster.
According to the World Health Organization, there's arguably no single preventive health intervention more cost-effective than immunization. It prevents 2 to 3 million deaths per year against diseases such as measles, diphtheria, and whooping cough.
Some hesitancy that we see is really a product of the success of immunizations. Really, we don't see vaccine preventable diseases as much anymore. So many parents don't have, experience.
Dr. Feimster, who's also the Director of Research for the Vaccine Education Center at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, says vaccine hesitancy is not a new concept, but the age of information has complicated the issue. The island's immunization rate is at 78%, well below the recommended target of 95%.
It's important to have a certain amount of what we call community immunity, or a certain proportion of your population that's vaccinated to prevent a vaccine preventable disease from spreading. And so something like measles, that I think many of us are concerned about because it's increasing their outbreaks in many countries, is probably one of the most contagious vaccine preventable diseases. And so you really need high levels of immunity in a group.
Vaccine safety appears to be one of the chief concerns among parents. However, consulting a doctor is essential before deciding against immunization altogether.
Certainly, any child who has an allergy to any part of a vaccine, a severe allergy should not receive that vaccine because to avoid an allergic reaction. For certain types of vaccines, especially there's some that are made from a weakened virus, and we call them live virus vaccines. Children who have compromised immune systems should not receive that kind of vaccine.
The public is invited to a free event tomorrow evening at 5:30 p.m. at St. Paul's Centennial Hall to meet with Dr. Feimster.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, coming up, the latest weather forecast and so much more. Stay with us.
Standard health benefit isn't about guaranteeing the establishment of business. It's about ensuring that everyone has equal access to services that are agreed upon as being essential. What do we consider essential? Well, ultimately, it's up to you. Standard health benefit and the premium that you pay isn't the Bermuda Health Council's money. This isn't money entitled to any insurance company or any specific provider. This is money that belongs to the people. That's a pool of $360 million that is set aside for every member of the 63,799 residents of Bermuda to have access to the kind of things that are necessary. We have found over time that maybe standard health benefit could be used better. We understand that much of the focus has been on care when you get sick instead of prevention. We found that there are services that you need that will help to keep you healthy, but you're finding a hard time to afford them. You've told us in telephone calls and surveys and letters and even emotional pleas on the side of the road that you want better support. You want to be able to afford your prescription medication. You want to visit your eye doctor or your dentist and not have hundreds of dollars in copays. You want to have a change of course in diabetes and hypertension and get local treatment for your cancer. You want to have support for your daughter when she goes into labor and for that newborn in case they need to be flown overseas. This is what you've been asking for, and for it to be paid within that $360 million. We hear you, and now are putting your thoughts into action. We now have an opportunity to close gaps, build bridges, and heal wounds. This is our opportunity to come together around a common purpose of better health and around creating a better health system for not only this generation, but for generations to come. This is indeed about your health, and this is indeed about your money.
Welcome back. One of the island's most popular doctors has warned that medical marijuana in Bermuda will not mean people will be given permission from their doctor to get high. Dr. Kaiwan Brown, the medical director of North Shore Medical Center, is talking about the future of the island's medical marijuana industry ahead of a public seminar on medical cannabis this Wednesday night, led by a visiting expert. Tarai Trott has our story.
Medical marijuana. Mention medical marijuana and some automatically think of people with a doctor's note smoking it and getting high in order to relieve a variety of ailments. But that is not the case, says Dr. Kaiwan Brown, the medical director of the North Shore Medical Center. He is organizing a public information session this Wednesday evening at Cedar Bridge Academy to dispel some of the myths of medical marijuana, among other things.
Do you have any fears that some people will abuse medical marijuana once it's available and will look for any reason to use it to get high?
Well, abuse, well, first of all, you won't really be getting high from the medical marijuana, so that's one. And abuse it how? There's no overdose. You'll never die from it. You could overdose on eating 8 potatoes and have problems as a result of that, more so than cannabis. That's how safe it is.
What did you mean by you couldn't get high from medical marijuana?
So, great. So there's 2 components of medical marijuana, THC and CBD. And in medical marijuana, we are able to dose regulate the amount of THC that gives you the euphoria or the high. And so in most conditions, it's unlikely for us to be getting very high THC that gives you that euphoria. There are some conditions where we want that sort of effect, but it's not commonplace.
Dr. Brown says current laws surrounding medical cannabis mean suffering patients have limited options to obtain help.
And thankfully, the government has legislated that 7 grams or less is decriminalized. So patients are able to obtain from the street pharmacist whatever they can get.
As a physician, I knew really nothing about it. I grew up in the just say no era. I believed it. I never.
The guest speaker at Wednesday evening's seminar will be American cannabis expert Dr. Deborah Kimbliss, who was turned towards the benefits of cannabis by personal circumstance.
And then I had an unfortunate problem with my mom, who died a painful death. We had no opportunity to explore cannabis as a potential.
She's a renowned speaker as well as researcher in this space of medical cannabis. She has written a number of papers on the use of medical cannabis. She's also helped to formulate different applications, because what I want people to understand is that smoking cannabis is not really going to give a biological aim. There's other ways. There's tinctures, there's topical.
It's the perception of smoking medical cannabis Dr. Brown wishes to address the most.
There is very little conditions in which we would say, okay, it's appropriate for you to smoke. And I would say one of those conditions, if you feel like you're about to have a seizure right in the next few minutes, then vaporizing, not smoking, will be advantageous for you.
And of course, that was Tarai Trott reporting. Again, that free public seminar on medical cannabis takes place this Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. at Cedar Bridge Academy. Any mandated immunization initiative must first be properly thought out, as there could be serious consequences. The warning comes from Connie Frith, a homeopathic doctor who, as Gary Moreno found out, argues taking a cookie-cutter approach to child vaccinations could well be doing more harm than good.
Dr. Frith made the comments in light of suggestions that immunization be made mandatory, something she feels may not be the best approach, but that notwithstanding.
I am not here to tell parents not to vaccinate their children.
An outbreak of measles in the U.S. has rekindled debate on whether children should be vaccinated for that, as well as other childhood diseases such as mumps or chickenpox. While she does not consider herself a so-called anti-vaxxer, Dr. Frith maintains such treatment may not be for every child, particularly if there is a family history of autoimmune deficiency disease, as quite often is the case here in Bermuda.
You cannot pick numbers out of a hat when it comes to immunizing a child and say, oh, this child can take it and this child can't. There's no way to identify that. When you look at the history, the health history of the mother, the father, and you look at the genetic predispositions to autoimmune disease, that alone should put up red flags. We're not discussing that.
Dr. Frith contends while local health authorities are not discussing matters of this nature, there is evidence to support her claims.
I don't want anybody out there in the health department to label this as pseudoscience or misinformation. I got my information directly from the medical community. So let's see what the National Institute of Health says. Vaccines can have an adverse effect on persons with autoimmune disease or a genetic predisposition for persons with autoimmune disease. Consideration should be given to those populations, particularly women that are pregnant, when vaccinations are discussed.
Before any vaccine is allowed on the market, there is widespread testing to ensure they are safe to use, something Dr. Frith agrees with. However,
it doesn't matter which channel you turn to on cable, you're going to get pharmaceutical ads coming up. They list all the side effects. They do not give you numbers and say these risks exist only in 1 in 5,000. They don't give you those numbers. If you were to research, yes, you would find out how many people have reported, not the unreported, the reported cases of an adverse reaction to that drug or to that vaccine.
a lot of this information, Dr. Frith believes, is not being made public, and for one reason only.
My opinion is medical bullying. We have a system here that doesn't really allow doctors to have an opinion outside of the box without repercussion.
Denying that her practice as a homeopathic doctor could bias her opinion, Dr. Frith made it clear she has one objective, and that is for parents to be given the respect of being able to make an informed decision. And as to how dangerous these childhood diseases can be.
How many cases of deaths do we have by measles? I have a 91-year-old father, an 84-year-old mother, who all had childhood diseases, including measles. They were not vaccinated. They were not even born in hospital because black people were not allowed to be born in hospital during their time. They were delivered by a midwife. Why are they still here with me today? I'm just saying.
Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Gary. Let's go to AccuWeather headquarters for the latest weather forecast.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
Well, we've had a nice warm day, but changes are brewing this evening. Some showers, maybe even a thunderstorm will occur as a front pushes in. This AccuWeather forecast is brought to us by the folks at the BF&M Insurance Group. Here's our stripe of, at least it's a broken stripe of clouds, showers, and even a few thunderstorms approaching from the west. And there is somewhat of a hit or miss nature to the magnitude of the rain, the intensity of the rain when a front like this rolls through. But we'll have to see exactly how things hold together as they cross Bermuda. But we do expect to see at least a few showers tonight. We're at 77. It's been a warm time. That southwest wind in advance of the front has been active at 20 to 25 knots. Humidity's up a bit as well, 75 to 80%. Water temperatures holding at 76 degrees. On the inside, we have 2 to 3 foot waves, but on the outside, 5 to 9 footers. It's a big difference from last week when we had very flat water out there. So a small craft warning is in effect through Wednesday morning. It will be a little more agitated out there with bigger waves as this front rolls through. High tide is coming up at 10:37, low tide at 5:06 a.m., high tide at 10:48 Tuesday, and then the low tide into the late afternoon tomorrow. So look out for showers, maybe a thunderstorm this evening and tonight. More of an overnight round of showers and spotty thunderstorms will fall to 67. Then tomorrow will quickly dry out, partly sunny, a nice pleasant day. But the waves and the active breeze will still be with us, but it'll be a drier time. These showers will come through overnight tonight. It's pretty well timed. You can see this band of showers exiting to the southeast in time for a generally dry Tuesday. That cooler breeze will blow from the north and northeast, or north and northwest, I should say. So that'll subtract from our temperature feel back into the mid-70s for our highs tomorrow. Down into the Caribbean we go with scattered showers, a couple of thunderstorms into Jamaica. Barbados will see a few, and Trinidad and Tobago will also see a few. We do not have any tropical threats. Last week we watched as a disorganized area of low pressure wandered from the Turks and Caicos to the Bahamas. It skimmed the coast of Florida and Georgia. It never became organized, so obviously still no true tropical systems yet for the young year of 2019. Into the gateway forecast we go, and in Toronto it'll be a nice day, 59 degrees. We look out for showers and spotty thunderstorms. thunderstorms into New York City, maybe even Boston, especially late Tuesday. A warmer day in New York and Boston. Atlanta, nice day, warm, 85 there. Miami, scattered showers and storms will be out there around 85 degrees. Had a couple of storms nearby this Monday as well. London looks nice. So again, showers, maybe a thunderstorm tonight. Drier on Tuesday. Then a weak secondary little trough is going to filter in from the north on Wednesday. And then I'll have some cooler air overhead. And that contrast of warm near the ground and cooler air aloft will allow for maybe a few brief showers. Nothing long lasting. There'll just be a few showers in the vicinity. Thursday, we look spectacular with sunshine and 75. Friday and Saturday looking pretty good as well. We're going to send it back to you.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
This summer I was in Germany on holiday with my family, and on a whim one day my son and I joined a speed sliding competition. And as I came down the water slide, I went straight down in the pool and whacked my left foot on the bottom of the pool. And I looked down and I didn't see a foot. I just saw the bones sticking out and I started to feel faint. I was ambulanced to a hospital where I stayed for 11 days and had surgery. I had snapped all the ligaments on both sides of my ankle. And in the middle of all this stress and pain, we thought, how are we going to deal with health insurance? How will we pay for this? And I got a response from Allison at BF&M, and she said, your admission and surgery will be covered at 100%. I didn't have to put it on a credit card and deal with the reimbursement later. It made such a big difference to us. And for me, the BF&M difference is stress-free insurance when I really needed it.
And you're watching the Monday edition of Bermuda Tonight. Still no resolution of the fiasco caused by the release of that statement on the use of credit cards for making payments to government and new fees attached. However, the situation is now being described as a symptom of a greater problem at government's Department of Communication and Information. Gary Moreno brings us up to date.
It all began unfolding after the Minister of Finance, Curtis Dickinson, issued a statement decrying the contents of a previous release on fees which would be charged to the use of credit cards by members of the public for payment of government services and taxes. The Finance Minister clarified at that time that payroll tax payments were the issue and that his intention and the government's policy is to recover these fees by way of a recharge fee for this convenience. The extension of this policy to other areas, he stated, where members of the public pay for permits and other government services was not authorized by him at all. However, during the budget debate, then Junior Finance Minister Wayne Faber told the House of Assembly that for years taxpayers had been particularly taking a joyride on the government, saying if you pay your payroll tax by credit card at certain banks, you get what they call travel points. The government was paying over $2 million in charges for people who charge on their credit card. Mr. Faber offered it was this government which recognized the problem, and now it will be effective April 1st, putting in place no more joyriding off the government. You can still take your credit card, but you are going to pay those charges. So who was it that approved last week's initial statement on the credit card and attendant fees? Well-placed sources have confirmed to us that approval came from the Office of the Financial Secretary. However, when asked about who gave the approval, the Department of Communication and Information did not provide a response. This reporter, though, having worked there in the past, can attest that no release goes out without the approval of a minister, a permanent secretary, or other high-ranking government official. The problem, we're told, is that there is now tremendous political pressure being brought to bear on that department, and staff are sometimes confused as to whom they should take instructions from. These developments are said to have negatively impacted staff morale, and a report has now been made to the workers' representative Bermuda Public Services Union, with a meeting scheduled for later this week. Our source maintains the proper protocols were followed by the communications officer at the center of the confusion, and that person at last check remained on the job. It, however, remains to be seen whether the finance minister's expectation that the conditions of employment and code of conduct for the public service will be applied in this instance. Our source interpreted those words as a call for disciplinary action against the communications officer. Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Gary. Earl Bays will have all the latest in sports after the break. Stay tuned.
new Toyota Rush, Bermuda's biggest SUV with 7 seats. There's always plenty of room. Available at Bermuda Motors.
Every home tells a story. Your story is all yours.
Big kid, too cool. I make my own rules.
Wherever you live, whatever your style, express yourself.
My style says what's up. Don't wanna ever grow up.
So many styles to help tell your story and create your unique dream home.
We're gonna stand out, break away from the crowd.
Start shopping for furniture at U.S. prices today. Lifestyle Furniture is Bermuda's newest furniture store and is proud to be the home of the #1 furniture company in the world, Ashley Furniture. Visit lifestylefurniture.bm or stop by our showrooms today. Lifestyle Furniture, this is home.
Has tonight's sports report.
Bermuda's under-17 men's national team bowed out of the under-17 CONCACAF Championships after falling 4-2 to Jamaica in Bradenton, Florida last evening. Following their 5-0 defeat against world champions Mexico on Friday night, Bermuda found themselves down 3-0 after 15 minutes against Jamaica. 2 minutes into the second half, Bermuda would score their first goal of the tournament and got themselves back into the match when Jace Paston scored. But 4 minutes later, Jamaica's 3-goal lead was restored. Anaje Aswad converted from the spot in the 64th minute to pull Bermuda within 2, but they could not get any closer as they went down 4-2. Bermuda's Erica Hawley and Tyler Smith both captured under-23 bronze medals on Friday at the Pan American Triathlon Championships. Hawley was clocked across the line in the CamTri Triathlon American Championships that took place in Mexico in 15th place in the women's elite division with a time of 2 hours, 2 minutes and 55 seconds, finishing third in the under-23 division. Smith would accomplish his goal with a top 10 finish when he finished the elite men's race in 10th place, crossing the line in a time of 1:46.14. Big Wave Riders, Bermuda alumni team, and the Mount Allison University out of Canada are the 2019 Bermuda Open Volleyball Championships men's and women's champions at the conclusion of the tournament at Warwick Academy. Mount Allison would win the title undefeated, while Island Spice, the Bermuda women's national team, finished second, and the Bermuda Masters alumni team finished in third. In the men's division, the Big Wave Riders were undefeated, while the Bermuda men's national team finished second. Team American Bowls out of Baltimore finished in third. The Schroeder Spring Long Course Swimming Championships came to an end with Day 4 action at the National Sports Center. In the competition, a total of 7 swimmers have met the standard for CCCAN. Swimmers needed 2 AAA times to meet the standard. Giello Ligori has qualified for 5 events, while Harlan Watson-Brown qualified for 3. Jaden Judge, Lindsay Shearer, Allison Shearer, Maisha Sharif and Finn Watson-Brown all met the standard for 2 events. Caitlin Coleman qualified for 1 event, which means she needs 1 more time to qualify for the championships, with the deadline date being May 10th. Jair Mitchell was involved in a heat race crash in Bari during the latest round of the Rockstar Energy Triple Crown Motocross Arena Series. Luck hasn't been on Mitchell's side in the series, and unfortunately, the bad luck continued when he caught up with rider Floyd in their heat race and went down. Mitchell got up favoring his right arm and headed back to the pits and did not continue. Mitchell, however, informed later, no broken bones, just fluid around the bone, need a couple of days to let it go down and then an MRI to see what's up. Sean Trott and Gail Lindsay are the 2019 Sir Stanley Burgess 5K male and female champions. Trott led from start to finish and crossed the line in a time of 16:56, with Tom Mills second in a time of 17:25, and Ryan Otterbridge finished third in 17:35. Lindsay would finish 10th overall, crossing the line in a time of 19:46. Martina Ochowski-Bell was the second female finisher and 13th overall in a time of 20:38. Finishing 19th overall was the third female finisher, Anna Laura Hocking, who stopped the clock in 22 minutes flat. Caitlin Conyers concluded competing in the 34th Pan American Road Cycling Championships in Mexico. Conyers was one of 17 female riders who did not finish the 88.2-kilometer road race. The Bermuda Bicycle Association hosted the VT Construction Madison Criterium in the city of Hamilton yesterday. Caden Hopkins took the line runners in the combined AB division. Hopkins crossed the line in a time of 39:38.5. Jamie Cousins was second in 39:41.6, and Alex Miller finished third in a time of 39:50.7. Maddie Durkin won the women's division race when she stopped the clock in a time of 27:40.7. Zoe Hasselkoss was second in 29:04.3, and Wenda Roberts was third in a time of 28:49.2. Pacers Track Club held a track meet at the National Sports Center yesterday with overseas athletes from the Flying Angels competing. The under-17 girls 100-meter dash was won by Ariana Cabezas from the Flying Angels, who clocked 12:75. Masasi Maxwell Smith was second in a time of 12:90, and Malaya Reyna finished third in a time of 14:41. Dylan Scott won the under-13 boys 100-meter dash when he was clocked across the line in a time of 13:37. Miles Otterbridge was second in 13:77, and finishing third was Devin Todd, who stopped the clock in a time of 14:16. Meanwhile, the Bermuda Pacers Track Club hosted the 2019 School Relay Classic at the National Sports Center on Friday evening. The girls' 400-meter relay primary school final was won by Northland Primary with a time of 57:88. West Pembroke finished second in 58:59, and Harrington Sound finished third in a time of 1:00:09. With a time of 57:97, saw Harrington Sound win the boys' 400-meter relay primary school final. Paget Primary was second in a time of 58:31, and West Pembroke finished third in a time of 58:91. I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
To me, it means everything because this is the first time I'm running. So this is something to prove to myself that I can actually do it without my body falling apart. And you know what I mean? Do it and be able to complete the half marathon at a reasonable time. To prepare for the race, I've been trying to do my best to run at least 3 times a week. I've been able to increase my mileage every month since October. I'm up to 7.5 right now. It's just that during the training, I'm finding little difficulties with my body, not being a runner for a long amount of time, just starting out running. I'm finding that just little calf injuries here and there that have hampered my training, but I feel that if I can at least hit 10 miles before May, I'll be good. As a first-time participant, it means something that I can knock off my bucket list as a challenge, a personal challenge to myself, something to strive for and to be able to improve myself. Like for the last 4 or 5 miles, that should be my energy. You know what I mean? When I'm feeling down, then if someone's cheering me on, they don't even know me, but they're cheering me, then that should give me a little extra boost to kick in for those last few miles.
And a programming note now. Tonight's Let's Talk with Gary Moreno will tackle the issue of race with guests Lynn Winfield and Cordell Riley from CURB. Throughout tonight's show, viewers will be able to take part in real-time polling via the website menti.com. That's Let's Talk with Gary Moreno tonight, 8 p.m. here on ZBM TV 9. That's our newscast. I'm Diane Brewer. Thanks for joining us. Good night.